You walk away, and everything feels normal. Until it doesn't. A few minutes later, one thought starts looping in your head. Was that something? Or was I just imagining it? You replay the interaction like security footage. Her smile lasted a little longer than it needed to. She didn't rush off, even though she easily could have. Her voice felt calmer, warmer. The eye contact lingered just a beat too long to be random. And now you're stuck. One part of you feels there was a signal there. The other part panics. What if I'm wrong? What if I misread it? What if I act and make things awkward? So you freeze. You don't follow up. You don't move the moment forward. You take that feeling home and lie there, replaying it again and again, trying to solve it like a puzzle. If this sounds familiar, you're not overthinking. You're just missing one crucial rule most men were never taught. And here it is. Women almost never announce attraction directly. Not because they're dishonest. Not because they enjoy confusion. But because they communicate in a completely different way. They don't open doors with words. They open them with energy. And if you don't recognize that language, the moment doesn't explode or collapse. It just disappears quietly. No rejection, no clarity. Just months later, that thought comes back. I should have done something. By the end of this, that sentence should stop showing up in your life. But first, you need to unlearn one idea that's been sabotaging you from the start. Most men grow up believing something that sounds reasonable, but isn't. If she likes me, she'll make it obvious. She'll say something. She'll give a clear green light. That's how men operate. Women don't. Attraction for them isn't proven by conversation. It's proven by movement. From the very beginning, they're watching one thing. Not how smooth you talk, not how clever you are, but whether you're willing to step forward when the moment opens. When a woman shows interest through her behavior, she's doing two things at once. First, she's protecting herself. If you don't respond, she can retreat without embarrassment. Second, she's observing you, not judging you, testing your awareness, your confidence, your ability to read what isn't being said. This is where men misinterpret silence. They think, I'm being respectful. She reads, he doesn't trust himself. And that distinction matters. A woman can be drawn to a quiet man. She can even like a reserved one. But she almost never feels attracted to someone who lets an open moment close without response. Because initiative isn't aggression. It's self-belief. So the mistake isn't that men don't see the signs. It's that they don't treat them as permission. Once you understand this, the confusion drops away. You stop asking, did she say anything? And start asking, what is the situation inviting me to do? And when you make that shift, the signals become obvious. Let's start with the earliest ones. The first signals are subtle, not dramatic, and that's why they're ignored. The smile changes, not the polite one, not the laugh you get for being entertaining. This one is slower, softer. Her body angles slightly toward you. Her eyes relax. The smile doesn't rush away. It feels like she wants the moment to continue. Most men explain this away. She's just friendly. She's probably like this with everyone. But here's the truth. Women smile to create safety, to encourage momentum, to make it easier for you to lead. That's effort, and effort is never neutral. The second signal is even clearer, yet somehow overlooked constantly. Her attention locks in. The phone stays down, no half listening, no drifting eyes, no multitasking. In a world where distraction is automatic, focus is deliberate. When a woman gives you her full attention, she's prioritizing the interaction. And people don't do that casually. This is where men often make a critical mistake. They interpret these signals as reasons to stay safe. But safety kills momentum. If you don't move forward when interest is being invested, the energy doesn't stay warm. It cools. Not because you did something wrong, but because you didn't do anything at all. Attraction isn't static. It's an exchange. And these early signals aren't conclusions. They're invitations. If you recognize them, the interaction naturally deepens. If you don't, the window closes quietly. Now let's talk about the signs that mean things have already gone further than you think. At this stage, something shifts. Her energy softens around you. Her voice lowers slightly. Her pace slows. Her movements become gentler. Her eye contact stays just a second longer than necessary. It's subtle, but it's real. With others, she might be direct or strong. With you, there's ease. This isn't a performance. It's unconscious. When a woman feels emotionally safe and engaged, her body naturally adjusts. The second signal is even quieter. You mention another woman, not in a dramatic way, just casually. For a brief moment, something changes. Her smile pauses. Her response shortens. Her rhythm shifts. It's gone almost instantly, and that's why it matters. Words are easy to control. Micro-reactions aren't. That flicker tells you something important. She's no longer neutral. She's starting to place herself in relation to you. At this point, the door isn't cracked open anymore. It's wide, but it won't stay that way forever. Emotion without movement doesn't turn into attraction. It turns into disappointment, not anger, not drama, just quiet withdrawal. And this is where initiative stops being optional. Because now, the moment is no longer theoretical, it's active, and the final signs make that unmistakably clear. When a woman brings up initiative, she's not making conversation. This is where many men misread the moment completely. They hear a statement. She's delivering a test. I like men who take the lead. Who do you think should make the first move? Are you usually decisive? On the surface, these sound casual, almost theoretical. They're not. She's not asking about your philosophy on dating. She's asking whether you're capable of stepping into a role without being pushed. Because here's the truth most men never hear. Women don't want to announce desire outright, not because they're unclear, but because desire makes you vulnerable. So instead of saying, I want you to lead, she asks a question that lets you reveal yourself. This is how women assess men without putting themselves on the line. If you step forward, she learns you trust your instincts. If you hesitate, she learns you don't. And that distinction matters far more than anything you say next. This is where men often sabotage themselves. They try to answer correctly. They hedge. They soften. They joke it away. They think they're being polite, measured, safe. But what she hears isn't kindness. What she hears is uncertainty, not insecurity. Uncertainty. And uncertainty is fatal to attraction, because attraction is built on one core belief, that the man in front of her knows where he's standing. When you dodge these questions, she doesn't think he's respectful. He's deep. He's careful. She thinks something much simpler. He doesn't trust himself enough to lead. And leadership, in this context, has nothing to do with dominance. It's about ownership of the moment. After this comes the second layer of testing, the status checks. These are even easier to miss because they're dressed as curiosity. Are you seeing anyone right now? Why are you still single? You must have a lot of people interested in you. Men often answer these like they're filling out a form, factual, neutral. That's a mistake. Because again, she's not collecting information. She's evaluating position. She's asking a very specific question beneath the surface. Is there space for me here? And if there is, will you recognize it? Notice how these questions arrive after the emotional signals, after the softening, after the attention, after the subtle jealousy. This isn't random. This is the point where attraction has moved from observation to involvement. She's no longer just seeing who you are. She's checking where she stands. And that's important. Because when a woman starts measuring her position in your world, the interaction is no longer neutral. Something is at stake. At this moment, the door isn't cracked open anymore. It's open wide. But here's what most men don't understand. That door does not stay open indefinitely. It doesn't close with drama. It doesn't slam shut. It closes quietly. If you don't step forward here, nothing explodes. Nothing ends with a confrontation. There's no rejection scene. She simply adjusts. Her energy pulls back. Her investment fades. Her curiosity redirects elsewhere. And months later, you're left wondering what happened. This is the part men never connect. They assume interest disappears because of something they did wrong, said the wrong thing, moved too fast, moved too slow. In reality, most attraction dies because of inaction, not mistakes. Women don't lose interest because a man steps forward. They lose interest because he doesn't. Hesitation sends a message you don't intend to send. It says, I'm not sure I should be here. I'm waiting for permission. I don't fully trust my read of the situation. And attraction cannot survive that, because attraction needs momentum. It needs response. It needs a sense that the man in front of her is present enough to act when the moment calls for it. This doesn't mean forcing anything. It doesn't mean being aggressive or dramatic. It means acknowledging the opening. That's it. Most men who miss these moments don't lack courage. They lack clarity. They're afraid of ruining something that already exists. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If the moment is real, action doesn't ruin it. If the moment isn't real, inaction doesn't save it. Standing still never preserves attraction. It only delays the loss. So if you've ever walked away thinking, I should have done something, this is why. Not because you didn't see the signs. You probably saw most of them. The smile, the attention, the questions, the shifts in energy. But you didn't treat them as what they were, an invitation. The signs were never missing. The response was, and once you understand this, something changes permanently. You stop waiting for certainty. You stop waiting for permission. You start responding to moments instead of analyzing them. And that's when regret stops repeating itself. Because attraction doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards awareness followed by movement.